From the outside, Jamal Reyes didn't look like a threat. Just another face in the courthouse, clean-cut, quiet, professional. He was a certified court interpreter, fluent in 3 languages, always early, always prepared. Judges trusted him. Attorneys barely noticed him. And that's exactly how he liked it. Until one case changed everything. It was a Tuesday, hot, slow-moving. Jamal was assigned to a criminal hearing involving a young migrant named Luis Ortega, barely 19. Luis had crossed the border alone. He was facing felony charges for alleged gang activity charges based on a single police statement and a badly translated interview. Jamal sat beside him in the courtroom, headset on, ready to do his job. But as Luis started testifying through fear and broken Spanish, something didn't feel right. Luis wasn't describing a gang initiation. He was describing being assaulted by officers. He wasn't confessing, he was begging for help. But then, Jamal noticed something chilling. The prosecutor kept passing him sticky notes. Skip the details. Don't translate word for word. Just keep it short. Judge hates long answers. At first, Jamal ignored them. But then, during a recess, a court clerk pulled him aside. "You're making this harder than it needs to be," she whispered. The last interpreter was more cooperative. He stared at her. "This isn't a story, it's someone's life." Back in the courtroom, Luis described how he was picked up by ICE, held without explanation, beaten when he asked for a lawyer. Jamal translated every word, exactly as spoken. No edits, no softening. The prosecutor's eyes narrowed. After the hearing, Jamal was told his services were no longer needed. By noon, his court access badge stopped working. By the next morning, a formal complaint was filed against him for compromising courtroom procedure, and then it got worse. His certification was flagged for review. He lost 3 freelance contracts in one day. An anonymous email warned, "Should have kept your mouth shut." But Jamal wasn't built for silence. He started documenting everything: emails, voicemails, screenshots. He reached out to Luis's public defender, who admitted, "This case was supposed to be open and shut. I didn't realize what was actually being said." Jamal offered to testify on Luis's behalf, but was told that as an interpreter, he wasn't relevant to the defense. And that's when Jamal realized the truth didn't just get ignored here, it got erased. So he made a decision. He didn't go to the media. He didn't make a scene. He just walked into the courthouse the next day, not as an interpreter, but as a civilian observer. And when Luis's case resumed, Jamal was there, recording. Jamal didn't know what he was hoping to see. Maybe justice. Maybe just confirmation that he wasn't crazy. He sat quietly in the back row of the courtroom as the prosecution began questioning Luis again. But this time, something had changed. Luis looked different, drained, subdued. And the interpreter? Not Jamal. A new face sat in his place. Someone Jamal didn't recognize. The new interpreter barely looked at Luis. He summarized, skipped over entire sentences, changed words like beaten to pushed, and begged for a lawyer, became asked about process. It was sanitized, sterilized, false. Jamal started recording audio only. His phone was in his pocket, screen off, mic on. He knew it was risky, but he also knew what he was hearing wasn't just unethical, it was deliberate. That night, Jamal compared the transcripts from his session to the one used in court. They didn't match. Not even close. So he did what he never thought he'd have to do. He emailed the court clerk, attached his original draft, and asked if someone had accidentally replaced it. No reply. 12 hours later, his apartment door was open when he got home. Nothing was missing. Nothing obvious, anyway, except for the folder on his desk, the one with all his printed case notes. It was gone, and in its place, a yellow post-it, handwritten, "Watch yourself." Jamal didn't sleep that night. The next morning, his certification board emailed him. A formal investigation had been opened into his conduct. They were reviewing whether he had compromised impartiality in court. It was laughable, but not surprising. Jamal wasn't up against one bad case. He was up against a machine, one that silenced problems by pretending they never existed. And now, he was the problem. Still, He wasn't done. He contacted Luis's sister, who worked long shifts cleaning offices. She hadn't been allowed in court, hadn't been given updates. When Jamal told her what really happened, she broke down. He told me he was telling the truth, but I thought maybe they made him lie, she whispered. Jamal helped her file a formal complaint. He drafted a statement, translated Luis's real testimony, sent it to every legal aid group he could find. Most didn't answer. The few who did warned him, "This could jeopardize your license. You're not a lawyer." "I don't need to be a lawyer," Jamal replied. "I just need to be a witness." That weekend, he posted a short video online, no names, no identifying details, just his voice. "I was told to change a man's words in court. I didn't. Now, I'm being punished for doing my job and telling the truth." It got a few thousand views. Nothing huge, but among them was a paralegal who recognized the case. She DM'd Jamal and said, "This isn't the first time this happened. Check case 7819. Same judge, same prosecutor, same interpreter." Jamal pulled the transcript. Sure enough, the testimonies read the same, word for word, different defendants, same story. Something bigger was happening. So he put on a suit, printed what he had, and walked into the State Bar Association building. When they asked why he was there, he said, "Because I have evidence that multiple courtrooms are translating justice into lies." They didn't believe him at first. At the State Bar building, Jamal sat for hours in a small, windowless office. 2 ethics officers reviewed his documents in silence. Occasionally, one would raise an eyebrow. The other just shook her head. When they finally spoke, their tone was careful. "We appreciate your concern," one of them said. "But unless a licensed attorney files the complaint, that's the problem," Jamal interrupted. "The attorneys are part of it. They know." A pause. Then a quiet sigh. "Off the record," one of them muttered. "You're not wrong. But proving intent in translation? That's hard. Unless you have recordings." Jamal didn't blink. "I do." That changed everything. He handed over the audio he'd recorded from the second court hearing, the one with the replacement interpreter. He played a clip where Luis says, "They hit me in the ribs with a flashlight," and the interpreter says only, "He was pushed once." They listened, rewound, listened again. Then one of them leaned back and said, "You understand this puts you at real risk?" Jamal nodded. "I've already been followed, threatened, had my credentials pulled. I know what this is." They agreed to elevate the case, quietly at first, but that same week, Jamal's apartment was broken into again. This time, nothing was subtle. His computer was smashed, his router ripped out of the wall. Across his kitchen wall, someone had spray painted, "You want a trial? We'll give you one." He filed a police report. The officer who showed up, the same one who'd testified in Luis's original arrest. They locked eyes. Neither spoke. Jamal didn't wait around. He checked into a motel across town, used burner phones, uploaded backups to encrypted drives. He didn't just fear losing evidence, he feared disappearing, because that's what systems like this do. They don't silence you with bullets. They bury you in bureaucracy, fake charges, career destruction, until no one remembers you were telling the truth to begin with. But then, something shifted. A local podcaster's small channel, under 5,000 subs, reached out, said she'd seen Jamal's video, asked for an interview. He said yes. No script, no edits, just a 1-hour sit-down where Jamal told everything. Dates, names, audio clips. The episode went viral. Within 72 hours, Jamal's inbox was full. Whistleblowers, former translators, even 2 retired public defenders, both admitting they'd been told to streamline testimonies in immigrant cases. And one message stood out. It was from a former court interpreter. Anonymous username, no profile photo. The message read, "They told me to change testimony in 2019. I said no. 2 days later, I was arrested for tampering with evidence. The charges were fake, but I lost everything. I have proof. If you're serious, meet me." Jamal responded instantly. They met in a church basement on the edge of the city. She introduced herself as Rosa. Short hair, tired eyes, voice steady. She handed Jamal a flash drive. On it, court documents, transcripts, internal memos from the interpreter agency, and a signed email from a county judge saying, if the translation creates sympathy, advise it. This wasn't just corruption, it was coordinated. Jamal knew what he had to do. That night, he called the podcaster back. I need to do one more episode, but this time I'm naming every name. The final episode dropped on a Monday. And a warning. No trailer, just a single word in the title, unredacted. It began with Jamal's voice, calm, steady, resolute. This isn't about me. This is about every voice that was rewritten, erased, mistranslated on purpose. If you want the truth, here it is. Names, dates, audio, emails, unedited, unfiltered, unforgiven. Then came the recordings, a court coordinator saying, just make it sound less emotional, an interpreter whispering, they told me to skip anything that might sway the jury, a prosecutor laughing, half these people don't even know what they're signing. Jamal didn't cut away. He didn't add commentary. He just let them speak for themselves. Then he dropped the documents, scanned emails, official transcripts with edits in red pen, side-by-side comparisons between real statements and what was allowed in court. In one case, a woman said she was assaulted by an officer. In court, it was translated as, he got rough. People started listening, really listening. Within hours, the episode hit 1 million views. Then 2.by the next morning, the story had crossed state lines. 3 former interpreters came forward. A senator called for a federal inquiry, and the interpreter agency that handled half the courts in Jamal's state shut down pending investigation. News crews camped outside the courthouse. Judges scrambled to issue statements, but the damage was done. Jamal wasn't some angry ex-employee anymore. He was a witness, a whistleblower, a fighter who refused to let silence win. And it wasn't just him. Luis, the man whose words had been twisted, was released on bond. With help from a nonprofit legal team, his case was reopened. And Rosa, the interpreter who'd lost everything, she was hired by a national watchdog group to train future court translators the right way. Still, not everything was clean. Jamal's apartment was vandalized again. Online trolls flooded his inbox, and one morning, he found his car tires slashed, with a note that read, "Not done yet." But by then, it didn't matter. The public was watching. The press was asking questions. And Jamal, he kept going. He launched a full podcast series, not just stories of injustice, but resources for people fighting back. Interpreters, immigrants, public defenders, translators. The movement was real. And it all started because one man refused to lie, even when silence would have been safer. In the final minutes of his last episode, Jamal looked straight into the camera and said, if you've ever been told to stay quiet, if your story was edited or erased, know this, your voice matters. And no matter how loud their machine is, the truth has a frequency they can't block forever. Thank you for watching. If stories like this matter to you, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and leave a comment. Your voice helps amplify voices like Jamal's. And if you want to wear the message, check out the black Unbroken merch below. Every shirt, every hoodie supports the fight to tell these stories loud, raw, and unfiltered, because silence protects power, but truth protects people.